everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about this play. Its name is The Dilemma of a Ghost and it's written by an African writer, Ata Aidoo. So let's begin with the introduction of the author. Ata Aidoo was born in South Central Ghana in 1942. Fortunately, she belonged from that sort of family where girls were very much encouraged to get education. So she attended the Wesley Girls High School and attended the University of Ghana, graduating in 1964. Uh, the work, this work, The Dilemma of a Ghost, it was first presented by the Students' Theatre Legon on the 12th, 13th, and 14th of March in 1964 at the Open Air Theatre Commonwealth Hall, University of Ghana, Legon, and it was published in English in 1965. So when Ata Aidoo, when she wrote this work, she at that time was not graduated, and she after 10 years once claimed in an interview that she herself was surprised at how she wrote such a play. And in one of her interviews she also said that I myself have not had the courage today to confront this whole question of Africa and Black America in those stark times. Let's talk about the title. The title, as it is very much depicting the dilemma of a ghost. It consists of two main keywords, dilemma and ghost. So it has been taken from within the drama itself. For example, in Act 3, where two village children play and sing a ghost song in the dream of the character Ato. So now dilemma actually stands for a state of confusion or perplexity, and ghost is something which doesn't have a physical presence. So the title is very much symbolic, because it states the mental condition of the protagonist Ato, and like he was torn between because of the tussle that existed between two cultures. One is the culture of his wife, an Afro-American culture, where while the other one is the culture of his native clan, the Ghana culture. Hence, one is modernity and the other is the traditional one. Hence, there is a kind of a dilemma in his mind. And ghost, who is a ghost? Author is calling him a ghost. Why? Because throughout the play he was unable to do anything. If you look at the character of Ato, though he's a man, but he must take a stand. But his character is like a ghost, not like a physical real man who could take a stand for his wife or take the stand of his mother. But he was not. He wouldn't be found anywhere. So now let's do the summary. The play opens with a long speech by the bird of the wayside. So this folkloric figure introduces the Yassen's family. It's a family of seemingly great wealth in the courtyard outside of Accra, Ghana. So, but it is only seemingly great, because of the Yassens, because the Yassens have spent a great amount of money on educating their firstborn son of the clan, whose name is Ato Yasan in the United States. So in the end of the prelude, there is a conversation of Eulalie and Ato when they are celebrating their graduation. Eulalie and Ato, they are actually the two main characters. Ato is the son of the is the firstborn son of the Yasan family, and Eulalie is her wife, is his wife. Sorry. So they are seen in the prelude of the play. They are seen quite hopeful about their future. For example, Ato says to Eulalie that, "Sweetie pie, can't we ever talk? But we must drag in the differences between your people and mine, darling. We will be happy, won't we?" So these are the conversation when they haven't been shifted to their native village, when they were still in America, and they are conversating about their future. But later, moreover, she seems quite optimistic that with their mutual love and support she will be able to conquer all the cultural differences. Like she says, Ajo, can't you mind your ma be sort of my ma too, and your pa mine? Now Otto has and when the more scenes come in the coming scene, we see that Otto has returned to his village. In preparation, the Yasans have added a wing to the clan house for him to stay in, where he visits. For he must live in the city where his job is. So the bird of the wayside then disappears, and Otto enters on stage with his wife Eulalie, an Afro-American woman, and she and Otto fell in love at school, and now he has brought her to his homeland to live. But in Act 1, we see that Act 1 begins with the two village women, the first neighbor woman and second neighbor woman, who will serve as chorus because they are seen as commenting on the actions of the play. So these two women provide information and reinforce the themes of family interaction in the story of Yasans. The first woman is childless and laments this fact. The second argues that children are as much a burden as a help. They also argue this point over Assicom. Assicom is Ato's mother, and the second woman then claims that Assi has gone into debt because to finance her son's education. But now that he is educated, the first woman points out he can get a good job to pay all her debts. So after the two women depart, the Yasans greet their son Otto, who has come to the family home with Eulalie. This scene introduces the Yasans because most significantly his grandmother Nana and his mother Monka, and his sister Assicom and his sister Monka and his mother Assicom. The scenes open in playfulness and celebration but closes in tears. At the midpoint of the scenes, Assicom, the mother of Atto, mentions the bride price she is assembling for Atto's wedding, anticipating that he will wed someone from their area soon. But at this very point, Atto reveals that he is already married. And yes, the announcement creates confusion, which only increases when the Yasans learn that their new in-law is an American. So at first they assume she is white. They soon learn that she is Afro-American, a descendant of slaves. So in Fante society, because to marry a slave is to marry a woman of no family, and to not have a family history is the worst thing that can happen to a Fante. Act 1 closes with Nana lamenting the fact that she has lived long enough to witness his disgrace. Okay, in Act 2 consists of two brief scenes. First, the two women return and discuss the obligation of children to their parents. This discussion provides a counterpoint to a soliloquy by Eulalie, which follows immediately. In a page and a half, Eulalie recalls her life in the United States and her continual dissatisfaction with racial inequality. She again celebrates being in her spiritual homeland where she belongs, but these pleasant thoughts scatter as she is frightened by the sudden beating of drums in the distance. It seems that Eulalie is not as comfortable with African culture as she would like to be. After that, Atto returns, and these two, Eulalie and Atto, they then discuss drums, witchcraft, and having children. Eulalie is reconsidering her original desire to delay starting a family. In Act 3 take place 6 months later. A boy and a girl sneak into the Yasin's house to play hide and seek. They sing the song that gives the play its title, the song of a ghost at a crossroad who cannot decide whether he should go to Cape Coast or to Elmina. The song awakens Atto from an afternoon nap. He is upset because it gives him a bad dream. 2 hours later, Essicom brings a bundle of snails to Otto and Eulalie. Eulalie, however, upon learning that they are meant as food, is repulsed and throws them away. Monka, the sister of Otto, she witnesses this rudeness and tells her mother. Now, Essicom and Monka went to Atto and share all the complaints they have been keeping in their minds since his return. such as he and Eulalie have been rude when the family visited them in the city. Eulalie doesn't respect the tradition of her husband's culture. And the worst of all, Otto spends all the money he makes on Western luxury items for Eulalie, while his family continues to wallow in debt. Now Eulalie, who doesn't speak Fante and so knows no more than what she can judge from their tone of voice, further irritates them by the European unwomanly act of chain smoking. The fight ends as Monka and Essicom storms out of the house. Now in Act 4, the fourth act takes place 6 months later. This occasion is the annual sprinkling of the stool, a, a ceremony that celebrates the family's ancestor. Now those who doesn't know anything about this festival of stool, a stool is actually symbolic in African culture. It represents one's ancestors. Some families keep one stool while others keep one for each of its former head of clan. In any case, sprinkling the stool with water or wine is a way to recall the ancestors and propitiate them so that they will ensure a profitable year. So it is a time of great concentration on family, heritage, and obligations, all the things that Ado has ignored. Now the Act 4 begins again with the two village women. They repeat the rumors that Ado has not given money to his family and the Eulalie spends all their wages on machines. They add news. The Yosans believe that Eulalie is barren. Eulalie, after that, Eulalie enters the scene and while she's drinking whiskey, Ado tries to stop her. His uncle enters and announces that they want to perform an Akon ritual to help Eulalie conceive. Almost all can be forgiven if Eulalie can present Nana with a great grandchild. Atto is shocked at the proposal and too scared to admit that the problem is not infertility but intent. He and Eulalie do not want a child yet. When he confesses the situation to Eulalie, she too is angry with him. She begins to see him as a coward husband who would rather let his family hate her than explain her customs to them. In Act 5, as Act 5 begins, it is the next morning and Eulalie is drunk. She and Atto argues. She calls his people savage. He retorts, "How much does the American Negro know?" Finally, he slaps her, then flees as she crumbles to the floor. After that, time shifts to midnight of the day, and we can see Atto vendors on stage yelling for his mother. The two women enter as well and discuss the evil spirit surrounding this marriage. When they leave, then Essicom opens the door to the house. Atto tells her that Eulalie has disappeared and attempts to explain the grounds of their argument. She realizes that because Atto has not served as an intermediary between African culture and Afro-American culture, he has failed in both sides. Eulalie then wanders on stage and Essicom accepts her into the house. The play ends with Otto standing alone in the courtyard. And as the lights dim, the voice of children are heard singing, "Shall I go to Cape Town? Cape Coast? Shall I go to Elmina? I can't tell. Shall I? I can tell. I can tell. I can't tell." So the summary now comes to the style of the play. It's a domestic satire and the play is open-ended. It is a very short in style. It's a very short and brief play, and there is a chronological sequence and a sustained dominant storyline which runs till the end of the play. As far as the structure of the play is concerned, the structure is tightly woven to achieve an intense cumulative effect on the sensibilities of the readers. And the drama is divided into prelude and 5 acts. The prelude is the opening introduction before a literary work begins, and the prelude is a very significant part of the drama because it tells a lot about what the reader is going to see in the coming acts. In this play, prelude begins with a song and a speech, that and then comes the dialogue between the two main characters, Otto and Eulalie. Prelude gives us the little history of the protagonist Ato. Like it says, but in the making of one scholar, much is gone. You stranger do not know. Just listen to their horn blower. Hence, through the use of prelude, Ata Aidoo has depicted the minds of the character who has not yet experienced this hard blow of cultural clash. Because it's a diasporic play, so the very prominent theme is cultural clash. You can see this theme evident in every dialogue of this play. So, as for example, Ato and Eulalie are very much excited about their future, and especially Eulalie is very much desperate about the new culture. As she says, Ato, can't your ma be sort of my ma too, and your pa mine, and your gods my gods? Such a huge claim now this is. It shows that she wants to embrace his family as well as his religion. But she wasn't expecting such a huge blow of cultural shock. Okay, now come to the setting. In the prelude, the play starts in America, where Eulalie and Ato are talking about their future. But in Act 1, Ato travels back with his wife to his motherland in Ghana, in his native home, Adamna clan house. Now come to the language. The language is simple and uses monologues and extensive commentary, which helps the reader to know the psyche of the characters and the views of the society respectively. Hence, in this way, she evokes the psychological and sociological responses to traumatic situation from the point of view of the traumatized. And there are a lot of proverbs in this play. The writer has used a lot of proverbs, and her work is enriched with the folk culture, because her usage of abundant proverbs in the play shows that one should not forget her or his basic culture, now no matter how successfully she begins. And these basic native proverbs, they have a significant impact and meaning in the play. For example, the very first one, for no one knows what the man of fame and honor was like when he was a child. It means you cannot see a great man when a person is a child, or how great he will be. You cannot predict the future of a person by just looking at his childhood. No. And the second one is, we can soon know the bird which will do well, for its nest hangs by the wayside. It means that some characteristics of a person tells that indeed that person will do well in life. The other proverb is, one must take a time to dissect an ant in order to discover its entrails. So it shows that when there is an issue, one must need to look at it carefully and delve into it to find the solution. Hence, to the use of these literary devices, the writer has given a glimpse of for the solution to solve an issue. It's an advice for the characters like Ato and Eulalie, who make a haste in their decision, as they had got married without considering the issue of cultural clash, which is a huge issue. Another quote and other proverb is, when the left hand washes the right hand and the right hand washes the left. It means that one should support his closed ones at the time of need. It is again an advice for Ato, who after getting married and graduated doesn't care about his family. He doesn't create a balance between his wife and the rest of his family. Though his family had supported him when he was in the time of need, they had borrowed the money so that he could be graduated from America. Now, when his time came, when he became successful, how she had borrowed money from the rich to put him through education, how her friends laugh at her as she looks more poorer now. Because, and it's her, it's her right. She definitely, she's a mother. Asticom is a mother, and she expects her son to help her when he is a successful man and with a high paying job, but he is not supporting, he doesn't caring about his family. He's only concerned with Eulalie, and even with Eulalie he doesn't make a balance. So it's a huge message for them, and that's all for today. Okay, as far as the themes are concerned and the characters are concerned, I'll be explaining these two headings in my next part of this video. So till then, bye bye.